I was going to say the same thing, because some of the things you're saying, I know our women would benefit from so much. So
That's okay. I think we can just start. Can we start recording now?
Yeah, I just recorded.
Awesome. Thanks. Sorry.
Okay, so we just started recording. Just briefly, I gave a little bit of an intro on my history of yo-yo dieting and just sort of, the struggles that I faced in life. Never seen myself as somebody that is a fit person, not thinking that's achievable, and just seeing so many women come into these programs and really watching them struggle to achieve what they think is their goal. So I'm going to dive a little bit into the 2 nutrition plans that Beachbody offers, and just sort of talk about my experience with them. The first one, Ultimate Portion Fix, which is the container plan system. So both of the nutrition programs are like a course in itself, and they're a whole series of videos, right? Which I'm going to assume most of you don't have access to, because you would have just joined with the basic challenge pack. And so what's at your fingertips right now is the sort of cookie cutter Portion Fix meal plan, which is found under program materials and 21-day fix, right? So that's where I started, was just with that. You calculate your plan, and you figure out how many containers you can have, and you just sort of do it. When I first started this, I went all in, like to the point where I was using like the right amount of olive oil in the teaspoons. I had the food list printed up in my kitchen. I knew exactly what I was eating on the exact day. And like I mentioned just earlier before we started recording, like it doesn't matter if you have to lose 100 pounds or want to lose 100 pounds, or if you are thin and looking to gain muscle or definition. Going all in is your only way to that destination. So deciding how you want to treat these meal plans really has to be in alignment with your personal goals. I have seen women come in and really want to lose like 30 pounds, but they're doing this nutrition plan at 80%. And it's really, to be honest, painful to watch. Because every single week you're going to lose that 2-3 pounds, and then every single weekend you're going to gain it back. And alcohol plays a factor. The summer is harder. Everybody's having like cocktails and stuff like that. Like, this has to be a personal choice for you. For me, when I was all in losing 100 pounds, I didn't drink. I went sort of program by program. So my first program was 80-day obsession, and that's in 3 phases. After the first phase, I had like a celebratory night out where I had like a ton of whiskey diets and felt like crap the next morning. And then I picked up my socks and I carried through phase 2. I did the same thing at the end of phase 2. So one thing that I found really helpful along my journey was like pre-planning out those like cheats. Like really looking at my calendar and thinking like, okay, like if I'm going to take this really seriously, I also want to live my life. And like, if there's a wedding coming up, or if there's this or whatever it is, and sort of planning that out in my calendar, so that when I came to that date, if I made the decision to have the drinks or the meal or whatever it was, I didn't feel down on myself. Like it was part of my plan. So for anybody that's really considering going all in, I think that is really important that you be realistic, and that you look at your calendar and you think about, what's going to be realistic for your own life. Do you guys have any like questions specifically about the container plan?
Couldn't tell if Tracy was trying to ask a question or she looked like she was reaching for a computer. Sorry, go ahead.
This really just is like a decision. You guys have this at your fingertips. Depending on what you're struggling with, it's usually just commitment. I see a lot of people that struggle with family and spouse. Like my family doesn't eat like this, my spouse doesn't eat like this, so it's really hard for me to. And I always say, like, you have to completely separate your goals from their decisions. If you want to do this for yourself, like I remember when I started, Josh was kind of like, he's super supportive, but like he was also kind of waiting for me to fail. Not in a bad way, just in like you're not really going to do this for like the long haul, right? And it surprised him, and that ended up driving me and fueling me to continue to go forward, because I like could see that he was proud and I was proud of myself. It really was a decision that I made, and I just like was ruthless about it anywhere we went. And you can do this in the summer. I did this in the summer. Like, you just need to be ruthless about it and pack your veggies and pack your water and do the thing. Sorry, Danica, did you want to say something?
No, not at all. I was just gonna say, like, in terms of the containers, I think it was just even for myself, just trying to understand. I mean, I've read a little bit about it, and we've seen the containers, and we know certain things can go in, and we've seen like all the posts of, this is where your rice goes, and this is how much. I guess just overall, like, what your thoughts were on the different programs and which one is beneficial. Like, why would you choose the 2B mindset over the containers, or yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
So 2B Mindset came out last year. I had already lost pretty much 100 pounds when it came out. And I decided to purchase it and do the program just because I was a coach, and I felt like that would be an amazing sort of tool to have in my tool belt. And I learned a lot from it. It's a lot more laid back. Like, it's not as strict with the food list. It's not as strict with the measurements. You really just sort of, it's called the plate it method, where, for lunch, half of your plate should be veggies, a quarter should be proteins, and so forth. So it also allows for a little bit more leeway with like sauces and things like that. They talk a ton about emotional eating and have really some good principles that just sort of help you with like the long-term lifestyle of making this a lifestyle. At this point for me, I use both. I learned a ton from that and I loved it. But if I really have a goal in mind, the Ultimate Portion Fix is more specific. Like, I know for me, I just need to have a plan and just follow it through. Like today or this week, I'm doing the 3-day refresh. Like, that's so easy for me because it's just like, bam, bam, bam. This is what you have to eat. Like, just do it. And so I really sort of feel like I work best on that strict path. I will say, like, so coming up right now, I don't know if you guys have all seen, but MBF, that new program, is coming out. And what they've done is that they've included access to both nutrition plans with this launch. They really did this because, like, they're realizing that enrolling somebody with access to videos just isn't enough, because it starts in the kitchen. Like, it needs to be the total solution. And as sort of program by program by program gets launched and people are like now going into the 21-day fix to download that eating plan, like, it just wasn't making as much sense anymore to not have everybody have access to it. So it's not just going to be for MBF, it's going to be for challenge packs going forward, but they just sort of haven't caught up to that. So that's something that's really great for your future customers. And if any of your current customers that are actually watching this now or coaches, that's your incentive to purchase the MBF challenge pack, because you can get access to both of these things and sort of figure it out for yourself. Like, at the end of the day, I think personally, and this is like totally generalizing, but I think most women have eating problems, whether it's under eating, overeating, if you don't, then that's incredible. And you should live your life of moderation and carry on your merry way, but for me, from what I've seen, having people join the sisterhood and start these programs, like, they're both so beneficial to every single woman. And 2.5 years in, I'm still finding my space and I'm pivoting and I'm like adjusting to where I'm at in my own life. But for anybody watching that has like actual goals, the only thing I would say is, like, you owe it to yourself to just do it and to stop doing these programs at 60%, but to really go all in and give it your all. And if you're a coach watching this, like, I know a lot of you guys are coaches, like, being a proof of the product is everything in this business. It really is. And so you owe it to your clients watching to follow, even if it's just for 3 weeks. You know, I'm going to do the Portion Fix program for 3 weeks. I'm going to take my before and afters. I'm, you know, like doing it 100% to a T. Like you can do that. And if you can't do that, how can you expect your customers to do that? Right. So I think that, you know, it always starts with the coach, and trickles down to the client.
What does the subscriptions give you? Like, so for the Ultimate Portion Fix, like everybody can buy the containers, and online you can kind of find what you put in each one and how much you're supposed to have. So what does a subscription give you that you couldn't just get on your own?
Yeah. So when you purchase it, or when you get the MBF pack and you get the access for free, you get a series of videos. I think both programs are like 20 videos, and they talk about all the different food groups, like the plan, like the different ways to follow the plan, emotional eating, all those types of things. It comes with a bunch of meal plans and recipes. I love the or it's Portion Fix. It comes with like 75 healthy kids meal recipes. I really dove into that. Like when it first launched, I was like making those recipes all the time, like healthy mac and cheese and like just tons of different good stuff and good content, honestly. And then To Be Mindset is sort of the same thing. It looks like it's going to ask you when you purchase it if you want to enroll in the monthly membership, which is a separate thing. So that's $19.95 a month, and they're actually combining that now. So you'll get access to both monthly memberships. So the To Be Mindset one is called the Monthly Mindset, and then the Portion Fix one is the Monthly Fix. And that is every single month, the creator of the program, so Autumn or Alana, comes on, does some videos, and then also posts new recipes and new meal plans. I currently have the monthly membership to the Monthly Fix. Not sure I want to pay $19.99 a month for it, just being real. I keep it because I share that content with my challenge groups. So if you're a client watching this right now, like I probably would select no. But maybe one coach within my One Life could do it. And then you have that content to share, you know, or grab it from me or whatever. But yeah.
That's good.
I have a quick question. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. We've got a few women that are really interested in the meal, and they believe that they really need it and want it. They also have a lot of kids, and money might be a bit of like an issue at this point. How expensive, like, can you do this on a budget, or is it expecting you to buy kind of the more expensive veggies and stuff?
Personally, I feel like when I meal plan, I spend less, you know, because I don't have a bunch of stuff in my fridge. I'm not going to the grocery store and buying a bunch of stuff. I'm not eating out. I'm not ordering in, you know, I know exactly what my family's going to eat this week, and that's what's in my fridge. In the beginning, I ate separate from my entire family. I would make 2 meals. Now I try as much as possible to have them eat alongside me. In the beginning, I just was really like focused on my own goal of losing the weight. And I just didn't have time to deal with the fact that they should be eating healthy mac and cheese. Like, it wasn't on my priority list. They were getting a happier mom, and that was good enough for me, you know? But as time goes on, like, that's definitely something I focus on. One way that I incorporated my family with it was like, if I'm cooking, you know, chicken and green beans, and brown rice, I would always maybe have like noodles and, you know, butter and parm for my kids on the side. Like, I just would try to add on instead of making a second meal. But I personally think it's cheaper. Like, there's been some times when I've gotten really into some of the recipes, and it's like, oh, you need ghee and you need blah, 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 and almond flour. And it was like, oh my God, like, this shit's expensive, you know? But those were just those few times. Like, I found that once I bought a couple of those ingredients, they lasted me like a year, you know? So, and it just almost, you know, following some of those recipes was fun. And especially if you are a coach on this team, like, that's something that you can share, you know, and get your kids involved. Like, you know, I know, you know, some of you guys have kids that are like old enough to cook with you, you know, like do the healthy muffins or whatever and get them involved.
Anybody else have any questions?
I have another one.
Yeah.
It's all about me today. I had a woman reach out about the Fixate cookbook. What's your thoughts on that one? That was her question. Her only question was, should I be buying the Fixate cookbook? Is it worth it? What's involved with that?
Yeah. So I love them. I've made every recipe from both books, Fixate 1 and Fixate 2. Like, I'm not blowing smoke. I love those cookbooks. And that's a huge part in because I went all in, right? Like right now, am I using them as much? No, because I'm like in moderation or whatever. But like if you're diving into one of these programs, absolutely. But another really good resource, if someone doesn't want to spend the money, like you can purchase them on their own on the website for $19. But if somebody didn't want to spend the money on that, like every recipe in the Beachbody blog at the very bottom includes the container equivalents. So you can, Sundays I used to sit down, and I don't know if you guys have like meal planning tools, maybe in the unit section of your group. But Sunday I would sit down, I would figure out what's for dinner, and I would look for some recipes to like make it yummier. Cause I found in the beginning, because I was really trying to lose weight, I was like chicken, broccoli, rice, and it just gets so bland. And then you end up just like diving off the deep end into the goldfish or the cheese crusts, So I really found that like doing the recipes helped me a lot. And now that they're getting access with the programs to the Ultimate Portion Fix, a lot of those recipes I think are going to be online. So if somebody, whoever that is, if they're somebody that's new and they're purchasing the new challenge pack, I would have them wait to purchase the cookbook and go through sort of a lot of the tools, the resources that are online, unless they just want that book, which I get to. I like having it.
So I know that the Shakeology counts as one red.
Mm-hmm.
Do the other products count as any of the containers, or is it just Shakeology? Like if we're talking Recover, if we're talking, there was a Refresh, I think was another one somebody asked me about.
Yeah.
Do those count as containers?
Recharge, I think you said, or something.
Yeah, they're all free. They're all like, they don't count as anything except for Shakeology counts as one protein. Something might be like, if there's a bunch of women in your group that are interested in it, like a fun thing might be for one of you guys to order a cookbook and do some sort of like challenge together, like if you guys all like did a 3 weeks all in on the container system, because really the best way that I've been able to share has been through doing it. And just like when you're doing it, you're then sharing more with your team, like as each other. If your clients are all in on the container plan, then they're going to be using those every day, and then they're going to be posting that in your group too.
Good for me. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? Lynn, Val, Kathleen?
Yeah, this is just a completely random. I have a set of containers. Thank you, Ashley. I haven't started even to figure out where, like, how many of each container do I get? Where's the starting point? Like, where's the jumping off point?
Yeah. So you go on your Beachbody On Demand, you go to the program 21 Day Fix.
Okay.
And under program materials is the Start Here guide. And that's going to have you do the calculation and figure out what meal plan you're in and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, something like that might be interesting or fun to do, like a little video of one of us doing it and posting it in the One Life. Yeah. Just as a jumping off point, because I had them and I hadn't done the work to do that jumping off point, and I just think that might be something that piques some interest. I know it might pique my sister's interest, or one of the girls that's going to try the free trial for 14 days. It might help pique some additional interest.
I had a challenger, and I don't want to go too much into it just because we're being recorded, but she actually came over to my house this week because I don't think you're in that group, Lynn. Maybe Danica, we should add her to that new group.
Hey everybody. Sorry.
That's okay. I had posted the different plans, and I had posted the calculation to do, and she actually reached out to me just because I'm guessing that when she did her calculation, the calorie count wasn't included in the meal plans. It was not in the range of the options. So she reached out to me and she came over and we chatted about it. So, you know, like it did, that was an aspect of it I had not thought of, that, you know, like maybe people, even with the calculations, it doesn't fit in the actual 3 plans.
Like,
So her and I discussed.
Thin? Like
Sorry?
was she really, really thin?
No, opposite. She was out. It was way more than the plans had where they were at. So her and I chatted and we looked at the containers, and she definitely said that she could be in just the top plan for now, and she thinks she would be good with that. Like, it looked like it was going to be enough for her. But yeah, it's having those conversations, right? Because we don't really talk about that too much.
Yeah. Was she like over 400 pounds?
350.
Okay. Because the I would redo the calculation for her just to double check, because they go up really, really high, and the top categories are so much food. Like, that's something that I would work with her closely on, because a lot of people that are like have a lot of weight to lose get discouraged because it's so much food. Like, they're like, oh my God, like they've never eaten this much vegetables in their life and they just want to gag, right? Like, it's a really hard plan to do. So sometimes with people that have that much to lose, I start them off on like plan C or D, and then it's like, do it for a week and let's see where we're at, you know?
And I can see that, because even when I did my calculations, what it's telling me I should be eating, I was telling Courtney earlier, that's like, well, let's just take the booze calorie out of my calculation. But food wise, that's like triple what I normally eat. So it would, for me, that would be a bit of a struggle to try to include all of that food in my daily food.
Yeah. And that's where people, honestly, I see it so often. And when I was smoking, it was a really big issue for me, because I was under eating because I would smoke instead. And I find a lot of women that drink at night, that's where it is. You think you're under eating, you're actually consuming 6 or 7 yellows. You know what I mean? Like, you're completely defeating the purpose of all the work you're doing in the gym, right?
All the yellows.
All those.
You're balancing it. I
Yeah.
work out so I can have my drinks.
I just put that like loud noise that came in was because I was looking for that video. I just put it in the chat. That's the video that I share with my new clients about 21 Day Fix and the meal plan. So it might be worth sort of watching that video. And then I think what Lynn said is an amazing idea of like making one yourself, you know, and putting it in your group, and just sort of like encouraging them to start it.
I definitely think, as much as I know I have not jumped on this part of the Beachbody, I do think that for us as a team, there's a lot of women who could benefit from this.
Yeah.
And so I do think it's something we could look at kind of sharing more of. It's
Yeah.
just we have to commit to it.
Yeah. But and that's the thing, like you know, they're not going to do what you don't do. So
they're not even gonna know it's part of it, or it's an option, or that we can help support them in that.
Yeah.
I think I struggled kind of jumping into it, one, because I wasn't sure if I was committed, as well as I feel like a whole other aspect. Not only am I not a fitness expert, I am not a nutrition or health expert, so I didn't want to like try and play that role without feeling comfortable. But I think just the more information we have, the better we can just guide or, you know, share resources without feeling like I'm trying to pretend that I'm a health expert, because I am far from that. So
yeah, and like that's what being vulnerable, you know, especially for the coaches on the call, again, like being vulnerable on your Instagram is what this is about, is what makes your platform genuine. So you like to order from Chef's Plate or whatever the box dinner thing is, right? Like after you cook it, throw that stuff into the containers, because a lot of it is approved and fine, you know, and the sauces and stuff like that, maybe that's where like To Be Mindset might be better for you. specifically, because that's fine in a certain amount. Or like, just put your sauce in the orange container, which is the seeds and dressings. Like a lot of time when I'm living my life in moderation, is that salad dressing like Beachbody approved? No, but I don't care. I'm going to put it in the orange container. I know that I'm not having too much, and I'm still showing that I'm being mindful of my portions, So I think you guys can adopt the eating plan as well as like honor what you want to do. But, meeting somewhere in the middle definitely is a good place to start.
I actually realized that I do all the meal bags the same as Danica does. And one week I did my meal plan and I put my containers in colors with little Crayola markers beside it. It looked like a 12-year-old did it. But I realized how much oil those companies were asking us to use, where to the point where they wanted oil with the ground beef. And my husband right away looked at me, he's like, why are you putting oil? It's ground beef. Like, you actually drain oil out of ground beef.
Mm-hmm.
So it did make me realize that I was way over my oils.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally cut like 90% of it out. Like, if obviously it's a dressing, I still have to use a bit of oil. But when I was cooking, I took it out and it fell still within my allowed containers once I switched that up. But writing it all out and actually looking at what each meal and what containers I would be using was a big eye opener for me.
I think too, because like I watch your guys' stories and stuff, and I think that like, even if it's a rice dish, showing your people that like, okay, this is what I made for my family. This is the chef's plate that we ordered and that we made. And now I'm going to cook my brown minute rice in the microwave and just exchange my plate with this, because this is sort of the approved food on, that like you can make those little changes, and have the brown rice in your yellow container as opposed to what came with the meal and what your family is eating on their plate. Like a lot of times I show in my stories the 4 plates to show that, to show that like my husband eats like shit. He does. Like, I'm 2.5 years in. I really thought he was going to jump on board. Like, we're not there. Like, I'm shocked, to be honest. But we have a great relationship. Like, that doesn't affect my life, like I can't let that. And I really try to impress that on women. Like, don't let that affect your relationship. Just make the fucking brown rice and move on with your day. Like, you can really do this alongside somebody that doesn't want to. And it doesn't have to be a fight. It has nothing to do with them, Yeah, Kathleen.
So I get the container program. 2B mindset. Is that mostly just kind of an approach to food, or is it actually like a diet where they tell you what and when to eat?
It is more of a like lifestyle approach. Like it's called the Plate It method, where you eat, I actually have like this tracker right here. You eat, like for breakfast, you eat half your plate is protein, half your plate is fiber-filled carbs, which is like fruits and breads. Like they categorize food in a different way. Like a lot of your fruits are considered carbs and stuff like that. But it's just
how much you can eat, or is it just like 50%, 40%, 10%, whatever?
Yeah, it's vague. Yeah, it's just like, if you have a standard plate, make sure that half of it is veggies and a quarter this and a quarter this. Like there's a lot more freedom in it. I just don't work well like that. I'm like, no, just tell me.
Yeah.
And I find that women with big goals, they need that container system. Yeah. But nearing the end where they've like lost the weight and need to just maintain and not be like a psychopath on the scale, 2B Mindset's great. It's a great way to like reintegrate into normal eating habits. That being said, there's people that have lost like hundreds of pounds on 2B Mindset. I just like, this is totally my opinion. And I love that they're including both programs in these challenge packs going forward, because it is totally personal. I've had women that really struggle with the container system because it's too rigid and then they end up falling, So, one of the things I'll say is that Beachbody constantly releases new programs, and it is a freaking gift. When someone joins you, they didn't just join you for an annual membership. Like this truly can be a lifestyle. I really thank like that I found this, because every time there's a new program, it's an opportunity for me to reevaluate. It's like a freaking Monday every quarter of the year. They release a new program every quarter, and I get the chance to think about what I want for my body. Like, you know, I want to be healthier. I want to be stronger. That doesn't mean being 100% all in, like 365 days of the year, but having a new program really gives me that time to reflect. And I think, you know, you guys are a new community, so everybody sort of just purchased. And I remember when I was like, had a new community and they were like, well, what do you mean we have to pay to upgrade to this program, you know? But if you really look at it as like, the digital upgrade is like, you know, 40 or 50 bucks or whatever it is. Like, if you compare this to a gym membership, it is so cheap for them to be literally offering you this chance to reset, this chance to come together as a community and do this program all in together, refocus, you know, like people in your community are struggling in ways that you don't even know they are. And that's something I've discovered as I check in with people over the years, you know. Every single time a program is released, I message every single woman that's joined me and I see how they're doing and if they want to do this program with me. And I do not look at it as a sales thing because this isn't salesy to me. I'm changing lives. So it starts with the coaches for sure being, you know, doing it, and then that's going to trickle into your groups.
Awesome. Thank you.
Totally.
Anybody else? Lynn, Val, do you have anything you want to ask or? Good. Well, Courtney, thank you so much for doing this because like, although not a lot of people came on, I know that we've had a lot of questions, and because we have not jumped into this yet, I feel like it's kind of a vague area for us that we don't want to kind of, you know, we don't want to lose people not lose people like in terms of like people signing up with us, but lose people like going off track. Like if we can help them in the nutrition aspect or guide them, I think it could be really beneficial for everybody. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a huge part of this, you know, it really, really is. And I think a lot of women are like almost ashamed to admit that they need help in this area and shouldn't be, you know, like we all need to look at our nutrition and we can all focus on it a little bit better, you know, so it's my pleasure, guys.
100% agree. Thanks
so much. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Courtney. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
Thank
You too. Thanks.